Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. Shona Robison is in a bit of a quandary. She wanted to bring in the council tax freeze. A lot of councils said, no, we can't afford that. How about we do a small rise and then take the money you were going to give us anyway, but it will at least reduce the rise. And she said, no, stamps her tiny feet and says, if you don't freeze your budgets, you get nothing. Then she came up with a better offer, which included £45 million from the UK government, which was meant to be spent on vulnerable people. And she's got this bigger budget now. She said, but you still got to freeze your budgets. And they've said, well, no, we're just not going to. Boom, and off they went. And Argyll and Bute just put theirs up. But now she's come out and she's absolutely befuddled and deluded because she's saying that she's not punishing councils despite threats of the freeze. There's also the fact, of course, that 45 million was meant for all the people of Scotland who are vulnerable, and if she withholds it from any people, then they have the right to sue her. So I think that this woman, who is incredibly stupid as we know, is going to find herself on the losing end of yet another court case. But then she can't help it. She quite literally is massively over-promoted from any kind of job that she is suitable for. Because she's so stupid. 86 IQ and put in charge of finance. Bad news. Let's take a look. So Shona Robison insists she's not punishing councils despite no new funding threat over the tax freeze. Just look at that face. Honestly, the wheel's turning, but the hamster's dead. The Finance Secretary also claimed it was being too complicated to have frozen council tax just for lower earning households, as she dismissed charity concerns about the impact of the policy. What you should have done is not freeze council tax. It benefits the rich more than the poor. It's become overly complicated. It's now an albatross around your neck, and all that extra money could have gone in to being targeted towards the most vulnerable in society, which surely would be better. Or is it just me? Anyway, Shona Robison has insisted she's not blackmailing Scottish councils to freeze council tax despite telling them they won't receive additional funding if they do. I don't think she understands what blackmailing is. She's threats. Look, do this or else. That's a threat, Shona, you moron. Argyll and Bute Council has already defied the SNP government and is announcing a tax rise of 10% in a bid to protect public services. I suspect they won't be the last. And of course they will now go and sue for their share of the £45 million from the UK government portion of that uplift. First Minister Humza Yousaf announced last year, off the top of his head and without a second's thought, that council tax would be frozen, despite having not costed the policy or discussed it with local authorities or his own cabinet members. This was a panicked reaction 5 minutes before his speech, because his speech was, to put it bluntly, boring and shit. And he needed a little wowzer in the middle of it. He went, I know, bing, I've got a brilliant idea, I'm the bestest ever. And he came up with his council tax freeze. Haven't worked it out, haven't spoken to anyone. He broke the Verity House agreement. He annoyed his own cabinet members. He had to get everyone to come around afterwards and lie for him. And that was proven because it wasn't in the meeting. So there's not been a cabinet minute at all about this. He claimed they'd talked about it in cabinet. No minutes. They went back and they checked. The civil service didn't know about it. It's all bollocks because the man can't help lying to try and cover up the fact that he's so damn stupid. But he's not the most stupid of them all, of course. We leave that one, of course, to Shona Robison. Although it's close. Anyway, the Finance Secretary has confirmed councils who do not fall into line will not receive additional cash coming from the UK government. And that's the point. It's not yours. It's the UK government cash for all vulnerable Scots. Court case ensues. Asked on BBC Scotland's Good Morning Show what she said about her policy was that she's having to punish councils who don't go along with it. Miss Robison said, well, this isn't about punishing councils. It's exactly that, though, isn't it? She added, it's about recognising that taking together the funding that we're providing, the additional funding is nearly 210 million, about a fifth of what is needed. So I don't think it's unreasonable that council taxpayers should see some benefit of that. But they're not going to, you moron. Because next year, when you don't provide that funding, they're going to have 2 step-ups in council tax. Why is it? Why is it that very, very stupid people, SNP voters, vote in even more stupid people, Shona, Robison, to you, Saf, and expect things to improve? When you allow complete morons the right and the ability to make decisions, without fail, they will always make the wrong decision. But what's really startling is they make the wrong decision every single time. You'd think purely by luck they'd get something right occasionally. But with the SNP, they never do. They are 100% of the time the wrong decision. And it makes you wonder if it's not deliberate. But hey ho. Anyway, asked how she would describe her refusing to hand over the money if councils did not back the SNP policy, Miss Robison dodged the question, because of course she would. She can't and she daren't answer it. She said the overall picture for local government in that funding will now be a record 14 billion. That is a real terms increase of 4.3%. No, it's not, but we'll come back to that. She said, so even taking aside the council tax freeze monies, councils are going to get about 3% real terms increase. No, they're not, because that's a 3% increase on council tax monies. But now tell the ladies and gentlemen about all the capital funding that you've pulled. Oh, I'm not going to mention that, are you? The net result is a real terms cut. But she won't say that because it's all spin and bollocks from the SNP. Miss Robison was asked why, if local government was as well funded as she claimed, Cosler said there had been a £62.7 million cut to core revenue budgets. As I said, why roads across the country was in such a mess, why Glasgow City Council was looking at cutting more than 170 teaching posts, and why councils were looking at closing services like libraries and swimming pools. She tried to blame the UK government for cutting funding to the Scottish Executive, even though this year they received the most money they ever have in history. She claimed local government had been given relative protection by the SNP ministers, but I'm afraid that too was also a lie. She was asked to direct comments from John Dickey of the Joseph Rowntree Foundation that the freeze would make no difference to to child poverty. I will actually say that what she's doing is increasing child poverty. She said it was a political decision, or she was accused of making, rather, a political decision that will help better off households, which it will, undoubtedly. If you've got the big fat house because you've got a big fat wage, and then, oh look, the frozen council taxes this year. Oh, so instead of going up £200 a year, it's gone up by nothing. Super job. What are we going to do with that £200? Let's spend it wisely. What? I don't know. I'll go to dinner. Yeah. And then £200 on a nice lunch or a nice dinner in a posh restaurant. Gone. Lovely. 200 quid would help a poor family a lot more. But hey, what do you do? She said it would have been too complicated just to have frozen council tax for those on lower incomes. Yes, it would, but it would have been much easier not to freeze council tax. Ms Robison also confirmed it would be just a 1-year freeze. So, very quick, here's where council tax is. Here's where it should have gone this year. But they're freezing it, so it hasn't risen this year. But then the following year, the costs have gone up again, so it needs to go to here. But next year, it means that you've gone from this level of council tax to this level of council tax. It's a big jump. So instead of going a little jump and a little jump, you've now got a big jump next year, unless they are going to cough up again, which they're not. And so next year, you're going to have this huge jump in council tax. Get ready for it, kids. It's going to hurt. Let's not allow the likes of Shona Robinson to ruin Scotland anymore. Let's give her a job well in keeping for her very limited skills. I'm sure that there's a public toilet somewhere in need of an attendant. That's about as far as you could trust her. And even then, she'd need extensive training as to which end of the toilet brush goes in the toilet. Look at her eyes. And please, ladies and gentlemen, go and have a look at Ross Kemp, for example. And then go and Google translocation Down syndrome. And that's all I'm going to say. Coming up. I literally cannot think down to her level. I cannot begin to describe in words. And I'm normally very, very good with words, but I fail to even find enough words, enough adjectives, pejorative adjectives, to describe how stupid this woman is. It's not even funny anymore. She needs to be removed. She is literally so stupid that she fails to understand the consequences of the things she's doing. And she doesn't understand what the word threat is. She doesn't understand what punishment beatings are. She doesn't understand that there is no such thing as a free lunch. And by having a freeze on council tax this year is no such thing. It just means a massive rise next year that people will find terribly unaffordable. And she's doing all this because her moron of a boss had a really crappy speech. Oh, my God, what is wrong with these people? We need an IQ test, literally an IQ test, and she would fail. She is no, I say 86, and you know, the longer it goes on, I think I'm being very, very generous. I think maybe somewhere in the 70s. I mean, getting down to cretinous here. Literally. Give her a big soft toy to suck on and send her to the corner of the room. She can sit there and colour in some books. Don't give her a purple one, though. She eats them. Thank you very much for watching. Do please hit the subscribe button, ring the bell, leave a like, leave a comment. Please share the video. And until next time, stay safe, stay well, and I will speak to you later. Bye. Oh, and I was right about the eye thing. Look at her eyes. Look at Ross Kemp's eyes. And Ross Kemp has got translocation Down syndrome. The same look.